Hello, everyone. You are listening to the C Squared podcast with Corey and Curtis. Today, we have a super awesome guest, Mr. Greg Pratt. He is a freelance writer, worked for a number of publications. So, he is here to drop some knowledge bombs about the music journalism world. But before we get started, I do just want to say thank you for joining us today and putting up with the shenanigans that are most likely going to ensue.
So, Greg, just as a very beginning, can you kind of give us like the nutshell version of who you are and what you do without getting too specific? Because we do have some specific questions on in regards to this.
Sure. Well, yeah, my name's Greg. I'm a freelance music journalist, primarily writing about metal of different kinds. I'm 44 years old. I've been doing this for, I don't really know, about 20, 25 years now, ballpark. And I just love metal with a huge passion. So I wanted to write about it. And yeah, kind of here we are.
Cool. Very
Awesome.
cool.
And that actually kind of leads into our first question. So, how did you get started in the music journalism and writing world? Because I mean, I'm sure the landscape has changed quite a bit from how when you got started, how it is different now for people getting started. But how did you get going?
Yeah, I really kind of stumbled into it. So, when I was a kid, like a young kid, I got really into Kiss, kind of a typical gateway band. And, I was just obsessed with them, right? This turned into being a teenager and discovering, underground punk rock and more extreme metal, 1990 or so, and getting just kind of diving into that. In the process of doing that, I did a radio show at the college radio station here, at the university radio station here. And in doing that, I became more involved. I was seeing how the station was getting promo CDs, and I was just like, oh my God, they get free CDs. I mean, it was just mind blowing. And they had a kind of a magazine that they put out, which was their program guide, but also there was interviews with bands and reviews and things like that. And at some point, someone said to me, "Hey, do you want to write a couple reviews of some metal CDs? And we'll give you the CDs." And I was like, "Oh my God, you'll give me CDs to just write about it." I mean, it was the dream. It was the dream. It was a dream. And so I wrote a couple of reviews. Horrible writing. I didn't know anything about writing, but I had a huge passion for metal, of course. So I was basically just like, well, this sounds like fun. I'll get free music and I get to talk about metal, which I just, love and know a decent amount about. So they started giving me CDs. I started writing reviews. And then I don't know exactly, a couple of years later or so, almost on a lark, like I thought there was no way it was going to happen, but I emailed what were at the time Canada's probably two biggest magazines, Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles, which was, and well, it's a website now, but at the time it was a print magazine, of course, and Exclaim magazine, which was a more general music magazine, but they had a good metal section. So I emailed both them and was like, "Hey, I want to write. Do you want a new writer?" Thinking there was no way. And they both got back to me and was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it. Your samples look good. Let's do it." And I was kind of horrified because I had no idea what I was doing, and suddenly I was in like two of the biggest publications in Canada where I live. So it was pretty wild. I kind of got thrown in feet first and then, or head first, or whatever the expression is. Next thing you know, one of my editors said, "Hey, do you want to interview a band?" I think it was maybe God Forbid, it might have been my first interview. And I was so clueless. I didn't even understand how to like record. I didn't even know that people recorded interviews or like how to get like the quotes on the page. Like I just had no idea. But I didn't want to admit that to my editor at Exclaim. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And then I was like, "Oh my God, I got to figure out how to do it." So one thing led to the next, from there. And then next thing you know, I just kept doing it more and more. And then I got in other magazines, Alternative Press, Revolver. Decibel was kind of always one of the big goals for me. And then I finally got into Decibel. So that's kind of the short version of how it all happened. It was just sort of, I'm just a guy who loves metal and I kind of stumbled into it all.
Cool. Well, you kind of answered this question. You kind of didn't, but can you kind of go into a little bit more detail on how you landed like the bigger ones? Like, I mean, AP type thing, which is in my mind a little bit bigger than Decibel and Brave Words. Can you kind of go over that?
Sure. So, I mean, to the best of my memory, the bigger magazines, Alternative Press, Revolver, Decibel, they, I mean, it almost goes without saying they're harder to get into. They got a lot of people wanting to get into them. I know with, it's not what you asked, but with Revolver in particular, I can remember that one where I emailed them several times and I knew someone else who was writing for them. And I think he put in a good word for me. And I was just persistent. God, I was just annoying. I just kept on these people. Same with Alternative Press. I can't really recall how I got in with them, but I know that it was probably just a lot of me being kind of pushy, which I wouldn't really suggest anyone try because it's probably just going to annoy editors. I think I just kind of lucked out. But yeah, those bigger magazines, they're hard to get into for sure. And I almost get the feeling that with some of them, I just kind of lucked out. Maybe I emailed for the 5th time on a day where the editor needed something really quick. I think with Revolver, my first piece was a review. I want to say it was maybe like a 6 Feet Under record, but I might be wrong there. And I think they were just like, hey, we need this like really quick within a couple days. Can you do this? And my motto for a long time with magazines and editors was just always say yes, just like pretty much never say no. If they need someone turned around within 24 hours, I'd make it happen. So I think that's helped me out a lot in the long run as a writer, just kind of always being available and willing to reschedule things to just make it work. So, as far as getting into those bigger mags like AP, I mean, a bit of persistence, a bit of luck, and of course, I mean, you have to have the writing chops to at least somewhat back it up too.
Yeah, no, that's true. Just as a quick follow-up on that before the next one. Now, I'm assuming that you went right into them on a paid basis. It wasn't it wasn't like on a freebie basis.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Just checking. Cool.
And so at each publication, is there a different route that people should go to pitch you based on publication, or is there a certain style of pitches that you like to receive when you are being pitched? Like, what really catches your eye, and does it differentiate between different publications?
So, like you mean pitches from publicists?
Publicists, bands, anybody trying to get coverage.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been thinking about this a lot. We've been trying to schedule this interview for months due to all of our busy schedules. So I've had time to think some of this over, and I've been thinking about this in particular. And it's funny. I'll use the example of a band that you're working right now. I can't say the name. Existentia. I probably got it right there.
Mm-hmm.
So a really good death metal band, and so I got a review of their new EP over at Brave Words, and like here's exactly how that went down. I woke up one morning, I looked at my email, and like all writers, freelancers like you two, like anyone in this business, you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, here's my inbox. And you kind of try to like deal with it. So I go through those emails really quickly at this point. I open up and I skim to see what genre it is, all these promos I have, because I don't want to crack open like 30, gothic metal albums or, something I don't care about. So I open it up to see what genre it is. That one, literally, I saw the words death metal and I thought, okay, I'm not going to file this away. This stays in my inbox for now till I get a minute later to crack it open. Later, probably that day, I cracked it open, hit play in the promo, listened to it for like a minute and was like, okay, this is good. I can tell right away. This is noteworthy in some way. This is a bit above average, I think. So from there, I asked I still hadn't read the bio or anything. The only words I had read were death metal at this point, and I listened to it for a minute and thought, this is good. Emailed my editor, Brave Words, said, hey, you want to review this? He said, yes. And like, we're all so busy, these emails, they're not even full sentences, just like, review, please. And then I wrote the review. As I'm writing the review, then I read the bio and the pitch, as it were. So in a sense, like, you can come up with the most like amazing, flamboyant, extravagant, well-written pitch, but all I really want to see are the words death metal. That's what matters.
So for people listening, big bold letters, headline, just death metal, and then everything
it'll work. It'll get my attention anyway. So like, it's not really about these great, interesting pitches. It's just about getting me the music and just letting me know what kind of music it is, really. And then I check it out. If the music's great or good or horrible or noteworthy in some way, then it's like, okay, this might be worth writing about. Then maybe they have some, interesting story or something like that. But it sounds cliche, but I mean, the music has to be interesting for me to even go the next step to read the bio or the pitch. I guess it's probably totally disheartening for you to hear, but that's sort of the order for me. So I wasn't reading the bio and the pitch until I was listening to the music and already actively reviewing it. So it's not so much about coming up with this fancy pitch. One thing I really like is when a publicist will contact me directly and say, hey, you wrote about this last time, or I saw you write about a similar thing. I know you like to write about this. I think you'll find this interesting. That means a lot to me when a publicist has kind of done their homework, or a band has done their homework or whatever, and realize that, okay, hey, this guy might like this grindcore record because he writes about grindcore a lot. That goes a long way for me. Those are really the only kind of pitches that have ever really like worked as far as a pitch goes. Otherwise, it's just like, I just want to know what kind of music it is, and then just roll from there.
Cool. So are there any ways you don't like to be pitched in general, like specifically like via social media? Like, is there anything that'll basically make it be like fuck off type thing?
Yeah. I mean, as far as like methods, ways of getting a hold of me or whatever, like, I don't like it when people find me on my personal Facebook and send me a message there, say, hey, check out my band. But at this point, like, there's not really such thing as like a private life for any of us. Like, it's going to happen. So I usually just, if I get back to them, I just say, hey, email me, and just like, I don't really want it there. But, at the end of the day, like, I don't care if you got a good record, I want to hear it. So get it to me, any way possible. I mean, I again, like I say, like all of us, we're all very swamped in email. So I don't like getting reminder emails. I don't like getting emails like, hey, maybe this fell through the cracks the first time, because it didn't. I deleted it. Like, it didn't fall through the cracks. I don't like, those things. It's not going to make me like not write about it, but it might, annoy me a bit. I mean, so like, I don't know. I less is better. Like, some of the labels and publicists who I enjoy working with the most are the ones that I deal with the less, in a sense, because they just send me the record once, and then that's it. And they know I'll be in touch if I want to be in touch. So I guess the kind of like pestering, the reminding, I'm getting a lot of correction emails, like, oops, I made a mistake in this.
We did that.
It happens. Like, and I mean, I'm a journalist. I know all about making mistakes. Like, it happens. but it's just, there's just so much, there's so many emails. So, just no, don't be pushy, I guess, really. Just get a great album to me and then let the rest work itself out.
Well, define pushy just really quick, because because pushy and persistent can sometimes go hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I feel like I've gotten in some magazines as a writer being pushy. So I can't really, tell publicists to not be pushy, because I realize that does work sometimes. So I mean, I guess pushy would be contacting me on many different outlets. Like this happens sometimes where I'll get an email from someone and it'll be just like a reminder, a follow-up or whatever. So I won't respond to it because I can't respond to all of these emails. And then they'll contact me over like Twitter saying, hey, did you get that email I sent? Like, that's pushy, because like we all know, like, yes, we got it.
Whoa, let me ask you this though, Greg, because I sometimes like that. I personally sometimes like that, because like if I honestly miss an email, I sometimes don't miss mind getting the nudges. I don't know about you, but I think it depends on who it is, and you know what I mean?
Well, it's true. I mean, it's true. It could depend on who it is. And I mean, I guess it depends on how much you're actually missing emails. I feel like it doesn't really happen to me that often. So I wonder, like, does anyone really miss emails, or is it just like you didn't respond? Yeah, you miss emails?
I do. But I also got like 4 accounts, and I know Corey's got like 8 accounts or something like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I kind of fall into the same boat as you do, Greg. It's yes, I did see your email. No, I'm not covered, because everything, all 8 of my accounts go straight to my phone. I don't know if you're the
Fair.
same way, but like everything goes to my phone. I see it all. I just don't have time to open it and cover it all, because it's just it's a constant flood.
Yeah.
So okay, so you don't like to be pitched with a follow-up DM, but so with you, you're pretty good about answering email. Yeah, I think you've always answered every single email. I don't think you've ever not answered an email. So
yeah, I mean, if my general policy is like, I'm not going to answer like, every like form email or like promo email because I mean, there's literally like 100 a day. So like, I'm just not going to do that. And, I get emails sometimes from publicists. It's kind of I don't know, it's kind of annoying when it looks like a personal email. Hey, Greg. And then there's a thing. But then like my editor will send me, hey, do you see this? This album might be cool. And I'm like, oh man, it's the same. They're just copying and pasting. So like, I mean, hey, we all take shortcuts, I guess. But so, personal emails where it's just like one-on-one, like, I mean, yeah, I'll almost always respond just because it's polite. But all the like form emails and whatnot, no.
Cool. Do we have any more on that question, Corey, before the next one?
Oh no, not on that particular one.
Cool. Let's go. Whatever you're ready.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, I mean, you've been in the industry for a while. You've seen how it evolved, how it's changed. So for people who want to get started writing now, since the process is so vastly different from what it was, how would you recommend they start either getting the attention of the major publications they want to work with, or how they get their foot in the door?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I've thought about it, and I'm in a sense, I'm happy that I got started a long time ago, because it was basically, I mean, not quite pre-internet, but certainly like early days of internet, magazines and papers having websites and stuff. So there wasn't so much competing. There wasn't so many journalists, so many people writing about music. It was just, I guess there was just less. It was harder probably to get into the magazines because it was sort of, it's a bit of a bigger deal to get into magazine than, a smaller blog or whatever. But it maybe was easier back then overall, just because I feel like right now, it would be so easy to be lost in the shuffle, so I feel for younger people who are wanting to get their start in music journalism now, it must be tricky. I mean, my advice, generally speaking, would be what it's always been, which has just been be honest and find your voice in your writing. Um, I mean, in music journalism, you just have to be honest, and it's, in a sense, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. It can be hard sometimes, of course, when there's pressures, both, you know, unspoken or kind of external pressures, but it's just being honest is pretty easy when it's just you and your keyboard listening to a record. You know, does it suck? Is it great? Why? Um, and, you know, find your own voice that is a bit different than everyone else's somehow, be it through humor, be it through you know, kind of obsessive detailed knowledge of a specific subgenre or something. um, you know, find your own voice to make your writing stand out, because more than ever, I suspect that's difficult for people to do.
So, well, one thing I wanted to ask you about too, that is kind of on that topic, but sort of not on that topic, is, so how do you kind of make yourself kind of stand out when you're pitching to one of these publications to write for them as a new person? What do you think?
I'm trying to think of what I did to stand out, and or you know, to hopefully stand out. I think that for me, I really tapped into my, you know, basically lifelong personal education of heavy metal. You know, I've been, since I was a teenager, I've just been, you know, studying this stuff obsessively. So, you know, I had quite a knowledge of it. So, you know, I think that that worked for me. You know, one thing I can say for writers just in general too is really basic things. And I've had editors tell me this, that this is why they kept going back to me, especially in the early days when I was not a great writer, was that I never missed a deadline. Like, ever. If there was going to be a problem, I'd talk to my editor like several days in advance. But even that's pretty rare. Like, just never miss a deadline. Run spell check. I mean, this is this, I can't believe I even have to say this, but like, run, even if you're not a great speller, that's fine. I don't care, but like, run spell check. We have computers that can, you know, take care of all of that.
Underlines
So like,
now, not like in the old days when you had to run it separately. Now you get underlines as you go.
yeah, as you go. So there's just no excuse. And, you know, just give your editors clean copy on time a day before deadline. This has been a something I've done too since day one, is if my deadline is, say, Friday at 9 a.m., I'll write down in my planner Thursday 9 a.m. deadline. And then, you know, a couple days before, I'll have reminders about that deadline. My planner is, you know, ridiculously detailed, but it's resulted in me getting work over the years because I never miss a deadline. My copy, maybe it's not always like great, but it's always clean. There's no dumb typos. And editors have told me, like, that, you know, we know we can count on you. You know, so even if my writing wasn't like revelatory, it was there, it was something. And, you know, editors, especially for print publications, you know, they need stuff, that kind of stuff go missing, kind of blank pages. So yeah, I mean, aside from, you know, finding your own voice and being honest as a writer, as a critic, just those simple things can go so far. It sounds so obvious, but it's just, you know, I know it's really helped me out. But then, yeah, just to go back, I mean, just being honest, I mean, we're all here because we love metal, right? I mean, no one in any side of this industry, you know, yourselves, me on this end, bands, record label people, editors, no one's in this for the money. You know, it's metal, right? So we're all here because we love it. So you just have to be honest, because it's important, and bands want to hear the critiques too, you know. They don't always react favorably, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, people do want to hear constructive criticism, you know. And yeah, like we love it, so we owe it to metal to just be honest.
So just out of curiosity, can you tell people, like anyone who's looking to get into writing for metal publications, music publications, like what kind of cash could they be looking at getting, if you're willing to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to say that it's not much. It varies a lot. I mean, I don't want to say what specific publications pay, but you know, I get anything from $5 for a CD review to um, I'm kind of drawing a blank, but like, you know, several $100s for several pages of content kind of thing. So it varies. Some places still don't pay for CD reviews too. That's still, in my experience, still happening. So, you know, they'll pay for an interview with the band, but they won't pay for a review. So yeah, it really varies. I work a full-time day job. Like by no means am I trying to make a living off this. I've gone through periods where I've made like most of my living off writing and journalism, but it wasn't just music journalism. It was branching out into other kinds of journalism where there is more money. And so, you know, the music stuff, it's always been on the side. I mean, since day one, I've always just been amazed that anyone will pay me $1 to write about metal. You know, it's still, when I get paid, I'm just like, wow, really? Like, you know, it still amazes me. It's still just incredible to me that people pay me to write about metal. So, you know, I don't mind that the checks are generally on the smaller side.
Yeah, fair enough. Corey, did you have any follow-up questions to that? Because I think we're almost out of questions.
No, I am good on my end, but that's definitely definitely the case. It's like one of my favorite sayings that another journalist says is nobody's getting rich in death metal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bands certainly aren't getting rich. You know, like sometimes I've interviewed a band and thought, you know, I wonder if I'll make more money off this record than they will. You know, because I'm going to get $100 for this interview, and you know, these, you know, the young death metal band's probably not making anything. So yeah, there's no money. You just have to love it. Having said that, like I don't think any editor worth their salt is going to work a writer into the ground for free. You know, like you are working, and hopefully you'll get paid at least a somewhat acceptable amount for that pay. You know, for sure. I mean, I do believe that, you know, writers should be paid. Absolutely.
So do you have anything else that you wanted to say, Greg, about this topic, or anything else before we end off?
I mean, I encourage people to write about metal. I encourage younger people to step up and do it. And, you know, it gets me really excited when I see a young writer and then I start seeing their name around more and more. And I think, okay, right on, like this person is, you know, there's people carrying the torch and moving it ahead. You know, we, as metal journalists, you know, we just, like I've said a million times, you know, we just love metal. We love writing about it. We critique it and give bad reviews because we care and love it all so much, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's so much fun writing about metal. I mean, the stuff I get to do, the stuff I get to write over at Decibel, I mean, I'm constantly just thinking like, I can't believe I get to do this. You know, it's so much fun. So yeah, it's just the best.
Cool. And with that, party on, Corey.
Party on, guys.